Tennessee Titans at the Detroit Lions. Detroit just an absolute baptism for the Tennessee Titans here. 52-14 in this game. Let's take a look at the top 5 graded players for the Detroit Lions. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs at the top of the list with an 87.7. Defensive tackle Levi Onwuzurike with an 86.1. Tight end Sam Laporta with an 84.8. Safety Kirby Joseph an 82.0. And then linebacker Jack Campbell with an 80.6. It's not often that we get a top 5 all above 80 grades. But, when you score 52 points and hold the other team to only 14, I suppose that's what happened. Jared Goff wasn't even one of them. He had a 66.2 overall grade in this one. Honestly, the grade is lower. I think people are going to look at that and be like, how is Jared Goff's grade so low? He didn't even really have to do anything in this game. We'll get to that in a second. Tennessee Titans on the other side of things, their linebacker Jack Gibbons, who said after the game that it was one of the toughest days of football he's ever had, getting absolutely shellacked 52-14. Don't blame him. 90.4 overall grade in this one, though. He played very well, as did his teammate, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons with an 84.0. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley, a 78.8. Running back Tony Pollard with a 75.3. And then tight end Josh Wiley rounding out the top 5 with a 70.1. Mason Rudolph in this game, 55.1. Dalton, what was your stat that told the story here in this game?
A wild stat line that you won't see very often. The Lions only ran 47 offensive plays with 225 total yards, and yet they scored 52 points.
A lot of special teams.
A lot of special teams. This was a 3-phase beatdown. I'll get there, but only 2 of their drives on offense went longer than 26 yards. The Jahmyr Gibbs 70-yard touchdown run early, and then their last field goal drive of the game where they just kind of worked it down for a field goal. They only had the ball for 24 and a half minutes. They forced 4 turnovers. They were great on special teams. It is one of the stranger offensive stat lines you will see. The Lions are going to – it's funny because they're going to move well down in the total yardage rankings with a 225 for a week, but 52 points says it all, and they did a whole lot of things right in all 3 phases.
Yeah, my stat that told the story, I'm really just going to talk about the Lions' offense overall because there's not a ton to talk about in this game. The Lions were just straight at the better team. They always were from the moment the ball was snapped and even before. So I'll look at this sort of as a season outlook for the Lions. 49.7% of their plays this season have yielded a positive EPA per play percentage. That is second best in the NFL, I think, behind only the Baltimore Ravens on offense. They're top 5 in overall offensive grade on first down, which I love because they're able to start drives off and start series off very, very well. And they are top 5 in least amount of negative plays on first down. I think if you listen to some of the primetime broadcasts over the last couple of weeks, the Chiefs have been featured. And they have talked about how Patrick Mahomes specifically does not take negative plays on first down. He does not do it. You will not see that from him. And the Chiefs are number 1 in the NFL this year at least amount of negative plays on first down. And so when you think about, well, how are the Chiefs always in these advantageous situations? It's because they never take a step back on first down. The Lions are also becoming or getting very comfortable being that team as well. They do not take negatives on first down. I think that goes into their red zone efficiency, which is my most impressive as well. 5 for 5 in the red zone here for the Detroit Lions. And there's just so many different ways to do it. Is it going to be play action? Is it going to be a little bit of a pre-snap motion? Is it going to be David Montgomery throwing a touchdown to the tight end? Like, there's just so many different ways that they can dress things up in the red zone. I think some offensive coordinators really panic when they don't have a lot of space to work with. Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, thrives when there is less space to work off of. 5 for 5 in the red zone in this one. 81.2% touchdown percentage in the red zone over the last 3 weeks. This offense is just absolutely humming, and they're fantastic. So what's the most impressive for you?
We mentioned this being a 3-phase beatdown. Let me just go with the Lions special teams units here. I mean, they just dominated this game. You talk about Khalif Raymond, 5 punt returns, 190 yards, and a touchdown, right? You're talking about, what are we talking about, 30, 35, or 36, 37 almost yards per punt return. Khalil Dorsey with a long kick return that set up a touchdown, 72 yards. UFL legend kicker Jake Bates hits all 8 of his kicks. Jack Fox averages 61 yards across 5 punts and lays 3 inside the 20. The coverage units don't miss a tackle. I mean, it's weird for me to sit here and go, special teams was, usually you get 1 or 2 big plays, right? And everybody talks about your special teams. This was all their units the entire time, return, coverage, kicking, whatever you can think of. This was about as good a special teams game as you could possibly find in this game. So you wonder why all of those short drives for the offense were set up. A lot of it was because their special teams in this game was just fantastic.
Most disappointing for you?
This Titans offensive line was supposed to be the one kind of beacon of hope here, even if the quarterbacks weren't or whatever else. But you're seeing it struggle. It was a season low 50.7 overall grade. They allowed a 66.7% pass rush win rate, and right now for the season, even with their 2 first-round picks on the left side, Lloyd Cushenberry, the free agent at center, they are the 3rd lowest graded offensive line in the league right now. That was kind of supposed to be a beacon of hope through all of this, and it's been a struggle so far this year, and it was in this game.
Most disappointing for me, I've talked about it before, it's the Hutchinson injury. It sucks. This is one of the best teams in the NFL. This is a Super Bowl caliber football team, especially with Hutchinson out there. And there's not a lot to take away from this game. There's really not. One team was just very clearly better than the other. I think the offensive line struggling, even with Hutchinson not in there, is obviously something that I'm glad that you noted. But just, again, long-term, I think all of my stuff has been long-term for the Detroit Lions.
Maybe the Super Bowl. That's the rumor.
And that's what
if they get all the way there.
And even then, it'll be your first game back in 6 months. Not that I wouldn't play him. Obviously, I would.
I've learned not to doubt anything.
No, I know,
anything
and
Aiden
I
Hutchinson
and
can do.
Obviously, like I said, it's not like you won't play him, but it sucks. It sucks that we don't get him because he was on a Defensive Player of the Year trajectory, and the rest of this team is that good. You always hate when you have to play what if for an NFL team with injuries. Execution's one thing. What if this team, they didn't live up to their expectation. When you don't live up to your expectation because one of your star players gets hurt, that sucks. And it's just I don't know. I really don't want to talk about that with this Detroit Lions team. It would suck if that keeps going.